ARV 482, 4044. Honorable Chair, this property was listed on our schedule of property to be disposed of, and the lease was in the name of C. Patel, the lease for 49 years. Honorable Chair, this property has now been disposed of, and we have an allocatee on temporary grounds in the name of Chamanywa. Honorable Chair, it is on our list of the properties we are evaluating. And the Honorable Chair, I remember when we were in Vancouver, we met the former proprietor of this property, and you remember we categorically informed this gentleman that after the disposal of this property, government shall make arrangements for his compensation. Honorable Chair, the process of evaluating this property is ongoing. And I'm also glad to inform this committee that we are also in touch with that former proprietor. Actually, is also desirous of receiving his compensation as it will be calculated after the disposal of this property.
Mbarara, have you ever dealt in that property?
Honorable Chair, this property was converted to a freehold, and the reference is Mbarara, FRD.
Can we have the copy? I think you can come near me here. You can come near me. Our visitors, they need to introduce themselves. You can have that 3 minutes, you introduce yourself so that we get to know you. You introduce yourself and you have my microphone. You can get it. Those who have just entered, introduce yourselves, we get to know you, then we proceed.
Honorable Chair, Samaru Alfred, tenant in Plot 30, Solomon himself.
Yes. Nine.
Good morning, please. Akaboy Moses, Plot 9.
What? What? 26? 28? Grant. Then, are you together?
Yes.
Okay. Introduce yourself to get to know you.
Okay, Nice
meeting you.
Akaboy Moses,
Nice meeting you.
equal Plot 30, Solomon.
Sir, you will not introduce yourself? Huh? Speak like a man. Speak like you get a home surgeon. Drive. Okay. Masaka, when 1235 was such an overload.
Mbarara, that's
Mbarara, yes.
Honorable Chair. Maybe a point of correction. The folio is not 44, but rather it is folio 14. That is for the former lease.
Okay.
It is volume 482, folio 14. It was in the names of Habibu Muhammad Prebutani and Darakan Habib Muhammad Prebutani, each owning half. And the lease was 49 years from 1959.
You are assistant?
I'm the senior registrar of titles. Attached to Mbarara Emzo.
Now, if I may ask, do you know the laws governing the custodian body properties?
Yes, Honorable.
Now, in dealing with this property, which law did you use to give your locus to deal with it?
Maybe, Honorable Chair, I didn't personally deal in that property.
Collective responsibility, NCL servant?
Yes, yes, Honorable.
Yeah, because by the time we gave you almost a week, 2 weeks, 1 week, since our team was in Mbarara.
Yes, Honorable.
So, and you were the one who have searched all this.
Yes.
It would be prudent where you see that there is an anomaly which you never attended to, then you would have come with the person who did that. But by mere fact that you have come, that means you are able to respond to that. Because according to custodian board, this property, it was never dealt in. When we were in Vancouver, as mentioned, you saw me scrolling my phone. I was looking at the owner because he's constantly in touch with us. And surprisingly, when he came, he said he visited the place, even went to Mbarara, and he got you in the house, not so? Yes. And what did you agree? Because he narrated to us, when you find in the house, you talked. What did you talk?
On that day,
You can switch off your microphone. Yes?
I attended the meeting when we were in Mbarara.
No, I mean the former owner of the property. He visited Uganda and came and
No, he never came.
he went to Constantino, then he went to Rukoma. He has also another property in there.
He didn't come to Constantino at the Friday.
Maybe he didn't find you.
I didn't know it was not even important.
What instrument did you use to deal with the property?
From the records, the application for a freehold was presented as a fresh application for title, and the person was claiming ownership. I think that is what now the board looked at, disregarding the fact that it was expropriated property.
Now that you've known that it was not the owner, according to what you have heard, what is the effect of the title?
The effect of the title, of course, it was erroneously issued. We had also presented the same position to the members when they came to Mbarara. The sitting tenant also approached us in respect of the same, and we are able to lodge a caveat on that property, having presented documents from custodian board.
During the starting to Mbarara, did you took time to inform the person who had this time? Because I made to understand that our team of members, they did ask you to help them informing all those who are in custodian body properties to appear before this committee today. Did you took time to inform the person?
Honorable Chair, that responsibility was given to the cow. I think who is more in touch with
with you?
No, but the chairman around the board is with us. I don't know what information he has from the cow.
Chairperson Land Board. How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
I didn't see you when you came to Mbarara.
Honorable, actually, I'm not older than a week.
In Mbarara? In Cosase Board?
After receiving the letter from the minister, it is now a week as a new chairman.
Can you be able to respond to questions?
No. Because when I got this information as a student and interested, I contacted the custodian board, maybe if I can get more information. So I was trying to rely on the cow, who has actually informed me that they were unable to come as a team. Because I called when I was here that we shared with one of the commander that maybe we can study and see whether we can have a team on all these plots.
I think it's not a blackmail from our colleague, because it comes from there when he says that it's Honorable Kaonda. Then, so this, when we are doing the work, it's not about who is who. All of us, we are doing government work, we are doing national work, we are doing in the interest of the country. Whatever we do, it's not say, can Kaonda really do this to me? Kaonda, a person comes from our home. No. When he's here, it's for all Ugandans. So, members.
Mr. Chairman, I remember when we were in Mbarara, I went as a leader of the delegation, and we did agree with the Mbarara team that there would be a follow-up meeting. And I'm happy that the EMZO officer is here. And Mr. Chairman, you remember when we reached here, we drafted an official letter inviting the Mbarara team, which I personally sent to the cow. And I share a copy with the EMZO officer, the registrar. Though he was raising issues about the facilitation and whatnot, but I want also to remind members here that I did. I informed the cow that it is his responsibility and the responsibility of those officers to appear before the committee. Surprisingly, I don't see other than the two, the registrar and the chairman, who is 1 week old in the on the board, but we don't see the rest, because we had invited the purported owners of these properties, and the one of the cow was that the members, the owners of those properties, are likely not to come. I don't know how the cow got to know that information that they would not come. But it is the responsibility of this committee to make sure that they attend. Mr. Chairman, you are aware that we derive our powers from the Constitution. So those owners, irrespective of who is who, we have authority to make them appear before the committee. And the chairman of the board, I don't know why you are here alone. Being a new member of the board, then at least you would bother at least to come with those with some historical, with some history of the board. I don't know whether the board is new. Yes, we are told by the cow that they are in the process of approving the new board. But why did you bother to come alone when you are just 1 week old? Mr. Chairman, with the Mbarara team, I don't know whether we shall be good to proceed, because the letter was very clear. Cow must have been in attendance, the board. We wouldn't mind if the board is represented by the chairman, but the chairman is very new, he knows actually, I can't say nothing, but he little relating to these matters. And the worst of it all, the purported owners, because in Mbarara you have so many compensated properties where you have issued freehold titles without following the due process. And Mr. Chairman, I don't know whether we are good to proceed without those owners. Most of the buildings of the plots are being developed now. Like there is a building on Zit Plot on Registrar Road. They are putting up a storage building. There is another plot, I think is it Registrar. They are also putting up a storage building. Registrar and Macansi. There is a building.
Registrar. That is plot. Plot 2. Registrar Road. Plot 4. Maka. The other is Registrar. This one Macansi.
And Mr. Chairman, there is also, I think, a redeemed property, compensated property, where they put up, I think, a 4-story building that is hosting Hosma stationers. Mr. Chairman, I think these purported owners must appear before the committee, because there is a lot of irregularities in Mbarara, and if we do proceed without those people, I don't think we shall be good to go. I thank you.
Honorable Mbarara.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank Honorable Gahoda for the detailed information he has. However, I just want to know one thing. What I heard from Mr. Galiwango, he said there is a freehold on this plot we are discussing. In whose names is it? Is it in the names of this gentleman here, the retired major, or it's another person?
Members, I have the file before me. It is in the names of Shiringi Star Limited.
Is that yours?
PO Box 302 Mbarara. The current sitting tenant did put a caveat on the same as an expressed pattern.
Why I asked that, Mr. Chairman, since Mbarara was trying to do their work, I think law demands that they visit the place, and I'm sure if they had gone there, they would have seen that there is a sitting tenant. But it appears they bypassed the sitting tenant who claims to have been there for so many years. Can Mr. Galwam tell us why they followed a route to eliminate the sitting tenant?
Mr. Galwam.
Honorable Chair, like I said, there was an anomaly in issuing the freehold title. I think it was issued in this regard. The allocation was done in this regard of the fact that record had expropriated property. So in my view, that title should not stand. That position we discussed well in Mbarara when the team was in Mbarara and the cow agreed to that anomaly.
Then since they left, what steps have you done to show the committee that as a responsible civil servant, which you have tried to do to save government property from being hijacked by the fraudsters?
One, I registered that caveat when there was a complaint.
Did you inform the owners?
Sorry, Madam Chair?
Did you inform the owner, the current owner of the property as per the title?
Yes, when a caveat is registered, a notice is sent out to through the postal address of the registered
Did
owner.
he appear before you?
No.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Kalwanga has categorically told us things were done erroneously.
Yes.
Why are you putting a caveat but not recommending cancellation?
Still, when we were in Mbarara, we agreed on the process of cancellation, and the sitting tenant was to initiate the process of cancellation as an interested party. That position was agreed on in that meeting.
Members,
Honorable Chair.
I will request Executive Director,
Honorable
Executive Secretary, Custodian Board.
Honorable Chair, when we are dealing with properties, we need to maintain the record so that we are not caught off guard. Whereas Major Chamanga is our tenant, but it is also clear that the relatives of those former owners, one time they came to Uganda and they formed the army there. Honorable Chairman, I beg to tender in the voice and of the owner.
35 Constantino Lobo Road. The other one is in Rotoma, plot number 1. And there's a big tree, maple tree in front. Plot number 1, Cosase, Rotoma.
Okay. How many times have you come to Uganda?
I came once in 1996.
Okay.
To look at the property.
Yes.
And then now I've given you the work to get it back.
Thank you very much.
I've given the title deed, I've given the possession certificate, everything is in your file.
But in your property at Constantinople, you got somebody in it?
Yes, I think some RV people are staying there.
Did you agree with them to pay some rent?
No, nothing.
Okay. But did you talk to them?
I talked to them when I saw the property just to look at it and nothing else.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So, we interfaced with the previous owner. I was the person who interviewed him in the committee. And when he came here, he found the army in the house. And as you heard, the army could not even allow him to check the house. He had repossessed the property by letter, to which he had interest, and he had the right over the property. The only thing we did have was to transfer, because then he would go back and get a certificate of repossession. Will I be wrong if I can put it to you, Major Chairman, that you used, in Dr. General's report, he did say that people use their influence to acquire custodial board properties. Will I be wrong to say that you are among those who use the influence to be in that property? If I may ask you, you can respond.
I was allocated that house when I was transferred to Mbarara. I was officially allocated the house when I went to serve in Mbarara. That was in 1999 by the minister.
Because and that's why I want to also ask custodian board.
And I have been paying rent, even I have this month's rent, and I have never been told by custodian board that there are encumbrances in that house.
I'm saying a lot of allocation, the first lot of allocation of that March, that was 2015.
Third
Then
month.
I'm seeing another rate of allocation 2018. I think it was because
We are analyzing
but this gentleman came here as you are came here in 1996.
and relatives came in 1996, they wanted to possess their property. And you start from the house of time, when in our report, we are seeing repossessions of 2004, 2005. How come that you could not help this poor man repossess his property? Executive Secretary.
Honorable Chair, this is a two-way ground. The repossessions you see, the repossession certificates you see dated 1996 or 1995 onwards, they derive the mandate from the date of application of repossession. Those ones who applied are in time, on time, before the deadline. Their process continued up to even 1996, even up to 2007. The cardinal issue is the time of application for repossession.
Members, I think that being that the owner wants a compensation and custodian board, executive secretary is in touch with the owner. I want him to be on record what you agreed with the owner, so that we can, based on that, recommend what we have not recommended.
Honorable Chair, I have alluded to this matter earlier. This is a property that was scheduled for disposal and a gazette, and that gazette has never been rescinded, therefore it still stands. Any dealing on that property by any authority, Honorable Chair, is a nullity. We still hold that that property is under the management of Custodian Board. And Honorable Chair, our tenant is desirous of purchasing this property because it has been a sitting tenant for so many years. And Honorable Chair, we are in the process of evaluating that property through our Board of Valuers. Honorable Chair, I beg and I pray that this committee instructs whoever dealt in that property to stay any dealing or cancel any transaction on that property, because we are in touch with the former owner, this property, the former proprietor, and in accordance with the law, after disposing of this property, the owner has agreed to be compensated in accordance with the law.
Honorable
Mr. Chairman, I think in my view, Mbarara City Land Board must have this lease, the freehold cancelled. Because they have put there something wrong on the title, they should remove the wrong thing they put there. Otherwise, custodian board will go ahead and then we shall get into a tussle of there is already a land title from somebody else. Land Mbarara should remove that land, that title, that lease they offered, so that it goes back free and clean to custodian board.
Honorable Chair, we also pray that whoever is threatening our tenant, in the names of retired Major Chairman, should desist from such acts.
First of all, this property for Mbarara Land Board to deal in it, one, we should all agree, and it was actually agreed in Mbarara, that it was done erroneously. For instance, if these people were expropriated in 1972, and by 1959, they had secured a lease for 49 years, that means by the time of when they were expelled, they had used only 13 years of their lease. What does it imply? It implies that the 33 years became frozen lease. And what does the law say? The 33 years, once they became frozen lease, it means that not until the Minister of Finance deals with the property, it remains under the custodian of government. Meaning that the 33 years actually are still running because they are frozen, not until the minister deals with the property, or not until the owner repossesses the property. Meaning, for Mbarara District Land Board to deal in this property, it was done erroneously. And we agreed in Mbarara that the process for cancellation be initiated, especially from the custodian board. That's what we had agreed. That's how we had agreed in the meeting, that the custodian board, since they had put a caveat, it means that the purported owner cannot do any transaction on that land. So it was agreed that the custodian board should initiate the process of cancelling the title, and the title goes back to government, to custodian board.
Executive Secretary.
Honorable Chair, I beg, and perhaps I need to be educated. Given that this committee has the powers of High Court, Honorable Chair, this committee is instructive. The moment we go into those details, the processes, as you know, they are very cumbersome. And the people are dying, they pray behind the curtain. Honorable Chair, pray. This committee will bring it over Mbarara District Land Board to counsel that thing.
Members, being that Mbarara District Land Board, they did accept that it was entered in error. If it was in a prudent way, then it would require them to go to court. But when it is entered in error, they can initiate the cancellation of the title. And I also want to direct the custodian board, being that you are valuing this property, you should consider the sitting tenant who has been in that property. If he fulfills all the requirements you have put in place for anybody to purchase that property. So the sitting tenants with Mr. Chamanyo should be considered first, not unless when it fails to fulfill the requirements. Members, when I look at the list, I feel that for the principle of fair hearing, we also need to see all those who have acquired, because most of them I'm seeing like 10 properties which are compensated and redeemed in here. But those who are going to be affected, we would need to interface with them with the principle of fair hearing. But in a situation where we have not, we invited them the first time, they didn't come because the communication was poor. Even the second time, I would like to give them one more chance, because we can't proceed when these are not there. So that all the occupants of Plot 55, High Street in Mbarara, Plot 59, High Street in Mbarara, Plot 33, Constantino Robo Road, Plot the current person called Siringi Star Limited, and Plot 1 to 3, Bogu Road, Plot 54, Mbarara Street, Plot 56, Mbarara Street, Plot 76, High Street, Plot 26, Makan Sinj Road, Makan Road, Plot 10 Massacre Road, Plot 17 Bakta Street, Plot 72 High Street, Plot 76 High Street, Plot 119 Kakira Stop Kikiba Road, Plot 4 Makrista Road, Plot 60 High Street, Plot 10 Constantino Robo, Plot M3 Mbarara, Plot 29 Constantino Road, Plot 32-34 High Street, Plot 17 Baguta, Plot 2 Makrista Road, Plot 17 Hammer Road, Plot 8 Makrista Road, Plot 33 High Street, Plot 2 Constantino Road, Plot 4 Makan Road, and Plot 29 High Street. To appear before this committee on 6th October 2020, failure to do that, we shall not give them any other option apart from recommending the cancellation of all those titles where the government has paid, compensated the former owners, and those where they have redeemed. And in case of those where the custodian board deemed fit that the way how the repossessed was wrong, or we shall recommend them for the government to take over. For that principle, I request the senior land officer to submit all the documents regarding these plots which he has, so that we can adjourn on this session. Can submit, you talk to them, you talk about them, and then you submit.
Honorable Chair, I will start with plot 58 High Street. I have made the writer. I don't know whether I should read it out.
No. Just plot 68. Just read the plot. We shall go into details when we come back.
Plot 58 High Street.
Then you submit.
Plot 59 High Street. The documents are here. Plot 33 Constantino Robo Road. Plot 1 and 3 Buchungu Road. Plot 54 Mbabuta Street. Plot 56 Mbabuta Street. Plot 26 Makan Street. Plot 10 Massacre Road. Plot 17 Mbabuta Street. Plot 72 High Street. Plot M3 Mbarara. Plot 76 High Street. Plot 4 Makarista Road. Plot 60 High Street. Plot 8 Makarista Road. Plot 2 Constantino Robo Road. Plot 29 High Street. Plot 29 Constantino Robo Road. Plot 33 and 35 High Street. Plot 32 and 34 High Street. There are two additional plots which the committee requested, which do not appear on the list. That is plot 5 Rohara Road. And plot 7 Rohara Road.
Custodian board, the communication here by directing you to submit the original file, the photocopy of the original file with all these properties before that date of 6th October, so that the members can produce through and collaborate with this. If the owners they did appear, the committee will proceed to write a report in accommodation of what they will have read through.
Mr. Chairman, maybe he can tell us, because the list is not exhaustive, what happened to the rest?
There is a property that we could not find, that is 119 Kachira Chikiva Road, Mbarara. It is listed there, but in our database, we don't have information about it. Then there is plot 2 Makalista Road. We also failed to get information on that. And plot 10 Constantino Logo Road. The rest have been submitted.
Mr. Chairman, what does he mean by not getting information?
It means we don't have data on those plots. So we cannot tell whether they are titled or not.
Mr. Chairman, I think this should also be area of our interest. Because plot 10 Constantino Road is a redeemed property. And it surprises us as a committee that it's missing in your in the Ministry of Lands database. Then plot 2 Makrista is also a compensated property, and it's also missing. You see, these are the areas that we should pick interest, where you find the redeemed properties, where government paid money to redeem those properties. The original titles are with custodian board, and now the particular property is missing in the database of Ministry of Lands. And then where the government has also compensated. And Mr. Chairman, why we should actually pick interest is that most of these properties, especially that we have redeemed and that we are compensated, from the areas where we have been, almost all of them, as of today, they have freehold titles. So I think the ministry, the EMZO office, and the registrar, we should pick interest, and this is why we are so much interested in some of these properties. For 119, maybe it could have been, we can reconcile this with custodian board. But for these two particular items, I think you should look for them.
Members.
Mr. Chairman, just additional information. For legal purposes, I'm doing nothing that South and I'm a member of this subcommittee. Mr. Chairman, when the officer says that he cannot get the information in his database, and these are physical properties, where you can physically visit and say, who are you here? This property has a question mark. Maybe if you don't have that information, the person occupying it may be having that information. So when you are doing due diligence, you don't just sit on your desk and check in the computer and you say, we don't have information in the database. You must go on the ground and do due diligence and find out. Maybe the information may be with the person who occupies that road. Then chair number 2, the issue of these witnesses who take themselves to be touchable and untouchable. I remember our communication was very clear, although I've come late. I don't see why we should not invoke our rules of procedure and make this appear before the committee, rather than just sending documents with just an officer when actually the witness is supposed to appear, and the committee was on the ground, and we agreed that they should come here and defend their properties, because the essence of us going to the field was to interact with the witnesses so that we can get exactly what is on the ground. So, Chair, I know you are going to make the ruling, but my view was that this person should be compelled to appear, or so that they don't assume that we made a report without a fair hearing. That is my concern, Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
this Mr. Kalwan was very interesting. He says there is no information on this plot, but do the plots exist? Because surely if you have land, and this there must be plots on either side of them, how can you tell us that you have no information? At least we would have said the plot is there, yes, we know it, but we have never located it. But to say you have no information,
yes,
the interpretation that maybe it doesn't even exist. Is that what you are telling us?
Most of this information that I'm presenting, actually you feed it in a database, and then you get the corresponding volume and folio, which is the reference to the title. But the plots that are missing information, it means data regarding those plots was not captured in the system. We had requested, Honorable Chairman, that we share information with Custodian Board. They give us what they have so that we can search further regarding these particular plots, because even the first time that we appeared, we had failed to get information regarding these plots.
Our concern is, are these plots in Mbarara?
Yes, they are in Mbarara.
Can you tell us the current status? What is there? Is it a bush? Is it a building? What is there?
No, physically I don't know the plots.
Mr. Chairman.
That is because personal I'm a registrar of title. The physical location of the plots, I have no idea. No. There is the office of the fiscal planner is different, and they have not appeared.
Mr. Chairman, when we visited Mbarara after the meeting, we had a tour activity where we had the Chief Administrative Office of Mbarara, we had the Deputy Town Clerk, we had the Fiscal Planner, we had your principal, I think
Principal Land Management Office.
Principal Land Management Office of Mbarara, and we visited some of these areas, whereby I think on Plot 10, Constantino, there are gardens, sort of gardens. There is a bar and some gardens. And on Plot 2, the man is putting up over a 6-story building or 4-story building, I don't know. So that is Plot 10. Plot 10, the Plot 10 Constantino Robo. There is a bar and it is managed by a man called Musomesa. So you need to keep interest in those areas. Yes.
Maybe Mr. Chairman, we need to go to Mr. Kalwango.
Yes.
To give him to the police and they assist him to plan over those plots.
Members, being that Mr. Galwango, Senior Registrar of Title, since our team visited Mbarara, they came and reported that he has been cooperative, and even when invited them, he did cooperate and did a search as requested by the committee, to which I feel is still a good witness who has been cooperating well with the committee. So we believe that before giving him a police to move with him, he can help this committee to get the information we are requiring. However, I direct the clerk to like to write summons through the office of the Senior Registrar of Titles, so that he can, through COW,
COW is the accounting office.
yeah, through COW, so that they can serve these people to appear before this committee on 6th October 2020. It is on their own good. If they don't appear, we shall go ahead to recommend as the committee will feel necessary. With that, I adjourn this session of Mbarara to 6th October 2020. 6th October 10 a.m. here at Bath. Thank you. Masaka. Masaka.
Yogali wangu,